This is another part of setting up, getting Cubase. You should find that the appropriate files on the recent projects, and it should be, oh, I've lost it now, Synth Course Cubase version 4. So open up Cubase 4. Okay, you don't really need to do anything else here because I've set it all up as far as system exclusive, etc. So moving on to the JD990, I've got the camera there and I've got it projected on the screen here. So I'm not quite sure which way to do this, but basically what you need to do is go to TVA, or I'll show you TVA on there. Okay, and then you should go to BIOS if it doesn't take you straight there, and then you move the camera over so that it's over the BIOS area. Okay, now I'm going to check that I am actually transmitting system exclusive. So this is the BIOS section on the TVA section on the right hand side of the JD800. You've got the BIOS point, the BIOS level, don't worry about aftertouch, BIOS point and BIOS level. You've also got BIOS direction, you've got upper and lower. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just going to see if my BIOS level changes. Yes, okay, so that's set up. I don't think you'll need to do anything with the XR300 because what I've done seems to be stayed in memory. Okay, so what you're going to demonstrate is what BIOS level, BIOS point and BIOS direction actually means. So it's all to do with how the sound responds to which keys you play on the keyboard. So this is the amplifier, so as we go up the keyboard, in this particular case with the BIOS level up, or if I show you on the projector, okay, so the sound level will get higher when you pass the BIOS point, and if I turn the BIOS level down, you should see that now turn it down, so it's actually, you get quieter when you get above the BIOS point. Okay, and it's notched at 0, so that's it all stays the same. And the BIOS, so that's upper. If I switch over to lower now and turn the BIOS level up, you can see that it's the keys below the BIOS point that get louder or quieter, depending, the rate at which they get quieter depends on the setting on your BIOS level. If you've got both upper and lower buttons on, then you're affecting keys above and below the BIOS point, so they're getting quieter and this is getting louder. Okay, so you can work with them individually or together. Now the BIOS point is, if I put the camera over the screen on here and I'll move the BIOS point, okay, so it, there you go, G7. So as being Roland, you want it to set to G4 for middle C, C4, yeah, C4, not C3, yeah. So that's middle C there, and that's C4. So that means that when we turn the BIOS level up, so going back to the screen now, that's everything above and below middle C, that's your BIOS point. So you can have it any way that you like. You can explain that on other synthesizers towards the late 80s, it's possible to have several BIOS levels and points, but now it's got simplified. Most of the time, you don't even get BIOS point, BIOS level. You have, instead of key follow, So we've got key follow on the filter there. Okay, you've got key follow on the filter. You've also got key follow on the envelope. Where is it? There. Key follow on the envelope. This is the envelope for the filter. You've also got key follow on the envelope for the amplifier, which means that basically the envelope gets longer or shorter as you go up and down the keyboard. We've also got time key follow on the envelope for the pitch, and then you've also got key follow itself for the pitch, and which is really interesting because you'll see when you turn it up, the intervals between the notes for each key changes. It gets smaller and smaller, so you get to an eighth of a note or something. And if you turn that all the way down, so let's see, so you can see pitch. If you take it to 100% minus,